In staff development recently, we've discussed using AI for not only standards deconstruction, but also for developing TCAP style test questions and TCAP review activities for your students here in the next couple of weeks. The first place we want to look at today is the live binder sponsored by the Tennessee Department of Education. From the homepage, you see blueprints for ELA, practice tests that are old versions for each grade, and also math. If you keep scrolling, you'll see those for science and social studies as well. I want to take a look for just a moment at the ELA blueprint. We'll use 5th grade as an example, and many of your CCs and your principals have discussed this document with you, and you look at these blueprints and you determine, okay, as I'm teaching, as I've been working through this year, where have I spent the bulk of my time? Where is the bulk of that test going to come from? Which specific standards? You see here on the left-hand side, reading informational text and literature, over 60% of the test, and that being 30 questions approximately in the test. So we're going to take one of these standards. We're going to take 5th grade literature. I'm going to highlight this one right here, KID 3, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go over here to my ELA standards, which should be bookmarked hopefully on your laptop somewhere. You have a paper copy of these and you refer to them routinely. Again, this works for ELA and math the same way, science and social studies as well. But I'm going to download these ELA standards and look for the one that I have just copied, where we are to compare and contrast 2 or more characters, settings or events in a story or drama, drawing on specific details. And I'll draw your attention to that last phrase, drawing on specific details. Again, as they design these tests, it all comes down to those specific details, learning how the test is formatted, learning how the questions are worded, and we're going to show you that here in just a moment. So highlighting the standard from your digital or paper copy of the standards, I'm going to go over to Magic School now. So I've gone to my live binder, I've pulled my assessment blueprint, I found a standard that either I have covered and want to review on, or if it's one of these standards such as maybe conventions of grammar, written expression, those standards that I haven't gotten to just quite yet, but I need to get my students exposure to them here at the last minute. Whichever standard you want to go from your blueprint, find that standard, copy it from your digital copy of the standards, and then in Magic School we're going to go to RAINA. And in RAINA we are going to say something similar to the following. Please provide anywhere from 5 to 10, I'm going to say 7, lucky number 7, 5 TCAP style test questions based on the following 5th grade ELA standard. And I'm going to paste that standard in there. Now, I could make my question this way. I could make my review questions this way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my live binder for just a moment. And I'm going to pull up that 5th grade practice test. So I'm going to go back to my table of contents, scroll down to practice test, and I want you to notice something here. I'm certain that you've looked at these and feel like you have a good feel for it. But notice, what does the word eagerly mean as it is used in paragraph 3? Okay? What does the word merely suggest? But notice these questions have both part A and part B. Again, learning how to play the test-taking game. A lot of this comes down to, are students familiar with what the test looks like? How does the point of view affect something? A written response. Notice also that many of these questions have multiple parts to them. So as we are in RAINA, as we are in Magic School, please provide 7 TCAP style test questions based on the following standard. Include, put this in quotations just to all questions should be multiple choice. However, some should require multiple parts and or multiple responses. Okay, so this is what my prompt looks like. Now I'm going to generate this in RAINA. Let's watch what it does for us. Read the following excerpt from The Tale of Two Friends. Let's look first at these questions. What statement best compares? Consider the following characters. Select 2 correct statements that compare these characters. Answer both parts of the question. How do the settings differ? What specific details support your answer? So we can see automatically the questions that Raina is generating matches pretty well to the practice test that is given by the state, where it requires multiple responses, where it requires 2 details that best support the passage, 2 parts to the question. One thing, though, that I do want to caution you with, let's look at this passage that it gives us here in the blueprint, in the practice test. Okay? Multiple paragraph responses. So here in Raina, only a small excerpt. Again, that is okay, but what I could do is say this. Please provide additional paragraphs. Let's rephrase this. Please provide more excerpts for each question. So again, the question types are okay, but it's that leading up to the question and expanding on each question that would give us a little more context and give our students a better feel for what the test will look like. As this generates, you can already see these passages, these excerpts are already longer. And these are questions that here we've generated 7. If you wanted to use 3 as a checkpoint or an exit ticket at the end of class today, if you wanted to save 1 for a bell ringer, every single question is designed so that it goes back to the standard that you chose and addresses that not only to review those heavy hitter standards that you've talked about or to give you exposure for those standards that you have yet to cover. So from this, we can export this to a Google Doc. I'm going to open this now, just as we've done every other thing that we've discussed, okay? Certainly, I would want to go back through this and do some editing to it just to get it formatted in a way that we would like to see it. But again, these are questions that we can take and print out, give right to our students, put on our panels, print out on our hover cams and have them displayed. Or if you wanted to put these questions in SchoolNet, that would be something that could be useful as well. So again, starting from the live binder, looking at the table of contents for ELA, start with your blueprint, find your standard, and then from Raina, you'll see the prompt here to do the following: to provide test questions based on a standard and requiring that questions be multiple choice and or multiple parts and or multiple responses in order to obtain the formatting that matches the practice test found in the live binder. If you have questions about Raina, questions about standards deconstruction, how to get this output generated, or how to help review for TCAP, please send me an email and let me know.